There are moments in history when a nation must look into the mirror to ask itself a very simple and terrifying question. Who have we become? At a time when artificial intelligence is writing stories, driving vehicles, diagnosing diseases, and shaping economies, Nigeria is confronting a different kind of test. Bandits are hosting giveaways on social media. Generals are being killed as though their lives carry no symbolic weight. Terrorists reported to have repented are accused of returning to the battlefield, and while we dream of the future, we remain haunted by the questions of justice, loyalty, truth, and national purpose. Technology may change the tools of civilization, but character still remains what determines the direction. And the question is today, what version of Nigeria will arrive at the future? On that note, let me welcome you to The Beam, where curiosity stirs conversations taking us a step further into the future that we desire. Here we bring you the issues that matter, the voices that challenge, and the insights that inspire. I'm Sunes Nathaniel, and today we are looking at building the society we deserve in the age of artificial intelligence. Joining me now is Dr. Ndubuisi Nwokolo, security strategist and chief executive of Nextier SPD. Dr. Nwokolo, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Sunes. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, it was very important that we brought you back because this is a very important discussion, especially as we move further into the digital age, the AI age, heading towards a very important election. And so let's just begin with the bigger question, the most important question right now. It's for me, when you look at Nigeria today, its politics, the security, the society in general, the economy, our social values. Are we building that society that we truly deserve to be living in today?
If I want to be very honest, I'm going to say no. I will say no because there seems to be this gulf, this gully, no matter how you want to describe it, between state and society. In countries where things like this work, state and society pull in the same direction. I mean, the intro that we have from you, as well as the clip we showed on the young people, in countries where things are done in an organized manner, the state and society pull in the same direction. Most times you see the state pulling the society in the way it should go. But that's not where we are. We are in an era, or we're in a country where people are pulling from different directions, especially where government in power or governments in power. Here, I'm not referring to a particular government, but I'm referring to any government in power, including the opposition in power, pulls from all directions. So you find out that state building becomes an issue, and that's what you see today. So I'm tempted to say that Nigeria is a state in disarray. But I may not be far away from that, in the sense that the state and society are not pulling in the same direction. So that's where you have a situation where even morality is an issue, economy is an issue, security is an issue, politics is an issue. So even if you want to look at issue of insecurity, I mean, in most countries, when they suffer the kind of instability that we suffer, you see the political class pull in the same direction. Cast your mind to what happened to America in September 11, 2001. The Democratic Party, or Democrats, did not blame the Republicans for what has happened, but they rallied around to work with the Republicans because for them, it's about the American state. The survival of the state is more than even the survival of the government in power. And that's how it works. But we have a situation where it's not about the survival of the state. It's about the survival of the regime in power. So what Nigeria suffers today can be traced back to 20 years ago, or even more. If you go back to 1999, when this democratic dispensation commenced, you could see it. Now go back to the period when we started experiencing terrorism in the country. At the time the Chibok girls were kidnapped, what did the opposition do? They never supported the government in power. To them, it was about finding a way to get the government in power out of the power without helping the Nigerian state to solve the problem. Today, that opposition is the one in government. Those ones who are in power today, then, are the ones in the opposition. What are they doing? To run this government down without helping them to solve the problem. So it's not about the Nigerian state. It's about who gets power, how and when, and how you utilize it. At the detriment of the society that the government is supposed to be a caretaker for the state, on behalf of the state. So that's what you're saying. So we are not pulling in the same direction.
So we have a state in which those who are in the political class, those who want to be in power, do not care about the state itself, do not care about the masses in the true sense. What they care about is the ambition of getting into power, not about the growth of the nation, where it's going to.
Fantastic.
It's good you brought in security because it takes me to my next question. We had a situation in which we had bandits operating social media live. We've been asking the question of how is it that they have data, they have access to the internet, they are everywhere on social media and we can still trace them. That's behind. We go further now to the fact that they were doing giveaways and people are sending their accounts and people are saying, hey, please send us money. And people, I mean, these are the masses and the people asking the bandits and the criminals for arms and, help and everything. And then the question for me will become, when criminality begins to seek public legitimacy, what does it say about the state?
So next, let me ask you a question. What's the difference between people asking giveaway from bandits with that of people taking money to vote in an election? What's the difference?
It all still doesn't work for the state.
It's still about the same thing. It's almost like 6.5 a dozen, right? So if somebody who is standing in a line and the politician walks up to him or her and say, take 10,000 and vote against your conscience, he or she does that. When you go outside and ask the person, why did you collect the money to vote? What she's going to tell you is that, I don't know when these guys are going to return back to me. I better get what I need to get now. We have this political economy theory or political science theory called the moral economy justification. That is when you try to justify that which is wrong, using a pattern to show that you have no choice, or the choice you just made is the choice you will make because it's against you. That's the moral economy theory. Now flip that on the other side to somebody who is saying, bandits, give away. After all, it's our money. And that's what some of them were saying. So let me get some from them, right? After all, they took it from us. Whether it's good or bad, they are trying to use that moral economy argument to justify it, right? So, and you saw how I started this by talking about the society, the state and society
pulling
in one direction. So you have a state where the state is pulling in one direction via the government, and the society is pulling on the other direction. So that's what you see. We live in a country where you can't justify any wrong thing using whatever thing. And most times, if you close your eyes, you might say, maybe this person is right. It's not that he's right. It's not that she's right. But the issue is that because it does touch him or her in an area that she can justify that wrong, she morally wants to justify it. So that's what you're saying.
So, again, we're still on this security issue. It's dawn in the way you're saying. It's dawn. Certain realities begin to dawn in the way we start to move as a nation, as a people. You have General Rabi who's just killed. You have generals before him, men of valor who have been, they've been lost to this fray. And we begin to ask the question. The fear is, if these guys who are powerful, these guys who have fought battles, these guys who are at the front, if they continue to fall like this, what then is the hope for the masses? Where do we go from here?
So if you try to look at theories of the state, right? If you look at the theories of a state or try to define what a state is, either from what we define as the bourgeois conceptualization or bourgeois perspective, one of the things they will tell you about a state is that the state controls the violence of,
Prof, just hold that thought. Yeah. Let's go on a break right now. And when we come back, we'll start from that point because we want to know when authorities get vulnerable, where do the people turn to? Don't go away. The bin will be right back. All right, welcome back. This is Still the Beam, and we're still in conversation with Dr. Nwokolo. Let's go back to that point. When the authorities, when the powerful people, when the guys in the military continue to fall in the way they are falling and nobody can rescue them, what does it say about the state and vulnerability?
Good. So, to actually define a state, one of the things or some of the characteristics of a state that you see and you say that this is a state is the issue of sovereignty. Right? This sovereignty goes with authority and the issue of legitimacy. And then people will talk about geographical entity and people will talk about population. Now, most times the issue of sovereignty and legitimacy is very important. When a non-state actor begins to question the legitimacy of a state, it becomes something to be very worried about. Now, within this legitimacy of the state are institutions of the state. And one of the core institutions of the state is the state security institutions, just like your military. If non-state ragtag actors begin to challenge our army, our military, we're almost moving to becoming a banana republic. For me, it's worrying. It's worrying in the sense that it's almost like saying, if gold can rust, what will iron do? If they can challenge our army and kill a 1-star, 2-star general, what will civilians like me would do? So, when people look at this, the death of the general is very symbolic. Whether he died of snake bite or he died out of complications arising from being in that bush for this number of days, is very worrying. It's very worrying to the stabilization of the Nigerian state. It's very worrying to the growth of the Nigerian state. It's very worrying to everything the Nigerian state believes in. My fear is that if a general can die this way, and we are not even able to attack these people and make a statement, it gives them the urge, it gives them the boldness to try again. And remember, this is not the first general that has died.
Exactly.
So, I mean, this is very worrying.
So it takes me to another question. Before I'm going to just drift a bit, but it's still in line with what we're talking about. Where do we then draw the line when it comes to, or when does it now become very important that state policing becomes enforced, that the citizens might also bear the right or have the right to bear arms? At what point do those arguments begin to play in?
I mean, the issue of state police, most times for me, I tell people that I want to challenge that we'll start having the conversation. That's where we to start from. Will there be landmines? Yes, there will be. Right? I mean, for us in next year, from this month, we're going to start a discussion on state police every month until we go either way. Now, why it's important that we have that conversation is to know where the challenges will come from and find a way around it. Now, nobody says that this kind of state police we're going to have will be the same that we have in Germany or like the same we have in the United States or in India. Nobody said we're going to have 3 levels of state policing, meaning the one that you have in the state, the subnational, the state here, the one you're going to have in the local government, right? Or the ones you're going to have in the ward level as the neighborhood watch or whatever. But having that conversation will help us to say, probably we can redesign our own to fit into our current realities and complicities, something that will work for us. I mean, that's where I think we are having an issue. The conversation have not really been deepened in a manner that will look at the legal challenges, economic, financial challenges, political challenges, socio-cultural challenges, and find a way to start remodeling it to fit into Nigerian realities. Is this something we should look at? I think it's something we should be discussing like yesterday, to ask ourselves those basic questions. The basic question or the basic answer is that where we are today, the Nigerian subnationals are already funding something that seems like state police. There is no state in Nigeria that does not have something that seems like state police. From the Amatekus of this world to the whatever, yeah. Right? There's a lot of issues to be looked at, including issues of human rights violation that will come with this. I mean, that's where the discussion should start. We can face it. Face it. Work on the constitution. Face it. Work on the recruitment pattern. Face it. Work on how to raise the money, including what is the security vote doing for us presently. Should the constitution, now remember that the security vote is not even in the constitution, right? It shouldn't even be there. So these are the issues the conversation we need to have and find a way to say this might be the way to go. On bearing arms, I'm not sure whether I want to support that. Now, most times to me, it goes between an issue of my heart, right, and my head. Where does my brain takes me, and what does my heart tells me? Each time I look at the killings in this country, I'm asking myself, do we go the American route and allow Nigerians to bear arms? Or allow states, the subnationals of each of the states, to see whether they can permit some people to bear arms? And most times I'm asking myself, are there other ways to get around this? Most times I put towards the second option, which is all the retired military officers that were retired prematurely. Is there any way to start pulling them back into the military at this period to see how they can help us? Are there police officers who are of good quality that we need to bring back and start using them to form the kind of this kind of state-armed vigilante services that could help? I mean, these are the thinking that should go into this. But I tell you, Sonis, I don't think we're doing a lot of thinking. Politicking has blinded us in the sense that we get into election. A month after somebody is elected, the person is already thinking of the next election. So politicking has blinded us that we are doing less around the area of governance and doing more in the area of politics. So that's what you're seeing.
All right, quickly then. I mean, the DHQ has, pledged that justice is going to come for the fallen soldiers, right? And then hundreds of repentant Boko Haram, in quote, are being reintegrated into society. And then how do you balance it with reports of the repentant terrorists being the ones who are still killing some of our military people? Where do you balance justice, security, and mercy? Where does it all come into play? In fact, tie it to the fact that they've been saying that these people are still our brothers, and as such must be given that fair chance for them to be reintegrated into society. What does it really say about us?
I mean, I wanted to ask the question if some of them have read a lot of literature around issues of terrorism and insurgency. If they have, maybe the route we are currently using in trying to integrate them into the society might not be the route to go. I mean, terrorism is not something you go into and want to pull back. I mean, there are so many indicators to show that most of them got into this with their mind all open. Now, remember that the monies they were paid to even get into this might be what the state may not even can afford at this stage. That's on one side. And on the second side is the need to know that there's different aspects of insurgency and rebel against the state. Permit me to say that if somebody has an intention against the state and is religiously, ideologically driven, it's very difficult.
When ideology meets religion.
So ideology could be that way. But so that's why you saw me link the two. Religiously, ideological, right? It's very difficult. Because religion is something that at times you may not know why you're doing it, but you're doing it. Right? There are things you look in all the holy books. At times you want to question it. But for you to be a faithful, you just have to believe. Even when, if you look at it from a common sense, it doesn't really make sense to you. But for you to be good in that religion, whatever religion you believe, you just have to I don't want to use the word be a fool. You just have to accept it. Right?
Prof, we have a few seconds. So I don't want to leave without this question. This whole thing about forgiving them has also brought in the case of, someone like Nnamdi Kanu, you have someone like Obi speaking about it and all that. What really should we do with that case as we speak? Just in a few seconds before we go.
So the question is, how ideologically driven is Nnamdi Kanu's case? Right? So for me, it's more socioeconomic and political linked issue of marginalization, which is easier to see. Just like the way we granted amnesty to the people from the Niger Delta because everybody saw it. So the question to Nnamdi Kanu is, if Nigeria, the Nigerian state, make your region of the country to feel as part of the Nigerian state, will you rebel again?
That's where we'll leave it. All right, many thanks to Dr. Ndubuisi Nwokolo. There's so much we can say, but we're just pressed for time. Thank you very much for being on the program today.
Thank you.